it's time for that beautiful but sad song that Joe Reichel says, it's not sad. I think it's a sad time song.
It's not sad.
Joe Reichel is here to answer your questions about what maybe you could do to fix that problem that you've got in your house, or maybe you're better off just calling Joe and Damage Control Services. But anyway, the phone line is open right now if you want to call Joe and ask a question about that flood or that damage that you caused when you burnt that egg on the stove or something.
Floods, fires, storm, tree damage, cars in homes, mold. The list goes on.
So I have a question to ask you before we do anything else.
Sure.
I watched a video that Kelly Hart posted of you climbing up one of those walls that she's putting up for this thing that they're doing, this torture track.
The Mill-Yard Monster.
The torture track.
Right.
Right. Do you remember you're probably too young. Do you remember the torture track? It was a game. It was a toy.
Was that called Fear Factor?
It was the motorific torture track.
No, I don't remember that.
No, it was just never mind.
That's an interesting. I've done lots of those mud runs.
Have you really?
Yeah, they're a blast.
Are they usually
I love them.
5 or 6 miles?
Yes. They average anywhere from 3 miles to the longest is the Tough Mudder series, and those are 12 miles.
So now I couldn't tell because I've only been to one. I witnessed Robin's daughter at a Savage run.
Savage race, yeah. I've done those.
And that one part, now I didn't see the whole 6 miles or whatever it was, but I did walk through some of it, and I did see some of the things. And then later on I watched a video, so I probably saw it all on video. But the one with the rope at the end that you have to climb up,
right,
seemed like a very, very hard one. Now, you did it pretty good. In fact, you look like you were trying to do it without the rope.
I was trying to do it without the rope.
Which I did see some people do this. So you're in pretty good shape.
The
how much of an angle was it? I couldn't tell from Kelly's.
It's set at a 45-degree angle.
Wow.
My feet were wet. Shoes were wet. So I think I could do it if it was later in the day. That was an early morning try.
So what were you, the guinea pig for the?
Yeah, just trying the wall.
Now, did you build that? Was that one of your projects?
Habitat for Humanity built that wall.
Okay.
So they've done quite a few of the obstacles. The race is September 14th.
Yeah,
so
soon.
Couple weeks, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty exciting though. That course is 4 miles, and there's going to be like 25 to 30 obstacles. So
here's a connection to Robin and me, or to Robin, not me. Robin used to be at Six Gun Territory way back when.
I've heard about that.
Okay. Now, she said that they used to buy their lumber from the Fuqua sawmill.
The Fuqua sawmill, yeah. That's the location where this race is going to be.
So that was, I guess, all those old buildings in Six Gun were made from that wood, huh?
Yeah, that is a sawmill out there, and people bring logs in there, and then he cuts them up. So it's pretty cool. We've used he supplied all the lumber for all the obstacles and stuff.
Wow, big undertaking, and it's kind of cool to see it happen here, and it's even more cool to know the people doing it.
It is it's the first locally put on race here in Ocala. There's been a few other ones that have been at the horse park. I know of 2 other ones out there. One was the Hero Rush, and they're not putting any more races on. That was a good race. And then the other one, it was like an Iron Mudder or something like that.
So are you a runner do you run every day?
I hate running.
Wow.
I absolutely hate running, but I love the obstacles.
I got you.
And that's the thing about these races that's really cool. It's more about just saying that you've done the race. It's not, there are people that go out there and they run them and they, do it for their time to see if they can beat their time or be the best in their age group or whatever.
Right.
I do it more as a camaraderie type thing. The people I'm running with.
It was fun. Even as a spectator, right. I was camaraderie with people.
Right. And you're cheering somebody on, and you don't even know them, definitely. And so it's pretty cool.
Well, the one we went to, Shannon is Robin's daughter, and she and 3 of her coworkers did it, and we made a video of them doing it.
Yep.
Well, guess how many did it the next year after seeing that video? It was like 20 of them.
Yeah.
All decided to do it. Yeah. So it is something to have fun with.
My very first one that I did, I tried to get a bunch of people involved in, and everybody was like, "No, I can't do it. I won't, not going to do it." But then after they find out that, if you get tired of running, you just walk, and then you get to an obstacle, and it's not like you're running solid the whole time. I mean, there's people that do it; they're in great shape.
Right.
If I get tired of running, I'm just going to walk.
Is there a fire involved in this one?
No fire in this one.
See, I think the fire is a waste of time. The fire I saw was like 2 inches wide. Anybody could have jumped over this fire.
It's more of just none of the obstacles are meant to hurt or to be impossible. But it's just, it's... Some people are afraid of fire.
A 6-inch high fire.
Right. I mean, the one that I've done that was, they're not going to intentionally hurt you. So all of the fire is far enough away from you that it's, sometimes just the smoke. I had one that was hay on fire on each side of you, and you had to run through this tunnel.
Oh, really?
And, it was just the smoke just, you start gagging just because of this, the burning hay. But, all of them that you have to jump over the fire is not anything that's going to hurt you.
So I'm sure you can tell that I am not one of the guys that does this. But, my son does. My son loves it.
I think you should do it, Larry.
I don't know that I could do
September 14th, you should do it. I'll do it with you.
Do you know any paramedics?
We'll have paramedics.
You might need some, yeah. You might need a funeral director, actually. But my son loves to do these things. He does them. And I have a nephew who does them, too.
Is he doing this one?
I don't know. I don't know if either of them are doing either of them, any of them, but they always do them. You hear about them doing them. They put them on Facebook.
I think you should do it with them.
I'll take pictures.
Are
you going to do it this one?
Yeah.
You are doing this one? So was the rope thing the hardest? We're not even talking about damage control.
No, we aren't.
Is that the hardest thing there? The one you did, the rope?
I don't know if you could call it the hardest. They're all pretty difficult. And they're going to be difficult for different people. I mean, there's monkey bars, and some people can't do monkey bars, so they would think that the wall is pretty easy. Really, I mean, there's like 10-foot walls that you have to get over that are straight up. I mean, it's really there's going to be a tire tunnel basically where you have to crawl through a bunch of tires that are just in.
So were you ever in the military?
I was not.
So I wonder.
But these are fashioned after military style obstacles.
Things.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the guys who actually were in the military, they see this. I wonder if it's comparable.
Well, there's a lot of people that'll want to do it just because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a challenge. It's something to say that you've done it. I mean, here's the interesting thing about these type of races. The oldest guy that I know that I've ran with was just a fellow I started talking to as I'm running along, and we were passing him and we ran with him for a while, and it was a 12-mile race, 27 obstacles, and he was 70 some years old.
Oh wow!
And this was on his bucket list.
Really?
I've ran with mothers and their husbands and children are cheering them on as we're going through the different obstacles, and I wasn't running with them, but they were doing the race at the same time. So I mean, there's all kinds of different people that you'll see that are doing these just to say that they've done them.
Yeah.
To be able to at the end get a T-shirt and a medal and say you've been there.
Can you do your job? I'm trying to steer to damage.
Go back to work.
So if you're done with this the next day, are you going to be out there building and doing what you do for damage control?
Well, I don't get to do too much of the building work, but I mean, yeah,
radio shows. Anything?
You will be a little bit sore probably the next day just because you're using muscles that you don't typically use.
Is Callie doing it? Is Callie and her husband doing it?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they're both in good shape, though.
Right. I mean, you'll have a lot of people that aren't in good shape that are out there doing it, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be in great shape because if you get tired, you don't do it, or you look at an obstacle that to you, if it is impossible, you go around it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of life.
I think I could do the ice water one, by the way.
Well, the ice, and I've got people that will say I cannot do that. I heard a person yesterday say
I could do the ice water.
I can't. I'm not going to either. That would be impossible. So
okay. So I got one I can do.
Right.
Okay, I can do the ice water.
That's the thing about it is each obstacle is going to be intimidating to somebody else, and you either get help or you go around it, and just like disasters to your house, if it's something impossible, you need to get help, you can call Damage Control Services. We can help you.
So anyway, if our discussion has interested anybody in participating, you'll need to, I guess, go to the website, and that's
millyardmonster.com.
There you go.
It also has a Facebook. There's a Facebook page, millyardmonster.com, but it's September 14th, 4-mile run, 25 to 30 obstacles. It'll be a blast. It's going to be entertaining for children of all ages, families.
4 miles.
Family friendly. Children. There's going to be a children's race too, so you can take your kids out there and they can go through several of the obstacles.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that'll be pretty neat.
So what do you do to prevent splinters?
Well, just like anything, you gotta, you can wear gloves. I mean, you may end up with some splinters regardless. So there's gonna be some wood you'll have to carry.
Oh,
then,
really?
And then the obstacles too. So
Really. Well, it sounds like fun, and I'm proud of all you guys for doing it. I'm proud to be able to say I know you guys. Actually.
There you go.
So let's see. Damage control. What have you been working on this week?
Well, speaking of splinters, today's job, the guys are on a tree job. A tree had fallen on a house, so the restoration part of that, as far as the rebuild, is happening today. Tearing back the roof and the shingles that were damaged area, and then working on putting everything back. So,
really,
fixing the trusses that are damaged. So, a little bit of electrical work while the electrician's out there, probably the air conditioning people, getting the ducts and stuff that go through the trusses out of the way.
I wonder if that storm this morning caused any damage.
I haven't heard of anything, and that's the thing. I mean, we've had. I was thinking about it this morning, Larry. Funny you say that. We've had lately very mild weather. I mean, it's been very, compared to early July, we had some.
Well, we had 3 hurricanes that were brewing out there that dissipated.
And we are in the heart of hurricane season right now.
Yeah.
We're right smack dab in the middle of it, ready, and we could get one at any time. Fortunately, it's been a very mellow year for that. People ask me all the time, are you praying for a hurricane? Are you looking forward for one? And I tell them honestly, no. Although a hurricane is typically good for businesses like mine, or other construction-related industries, I've seen, when the last hurricanes came through, the damage was so bad, and, not necessarily here, but we went further south down to Punta Gorda and Arcadia, Wauchula, those areas. The damage that they sustained down there was so bad that it's almost impossible. I mean, you look at it as being an impossibility to go and rebuild those areas. And we could see it we watched it on TV, and though we were without power, we had some trees down, we really didn't get that bad of weather here during the 04-05 storms. If we were to get a direct hit in this area, it would be so bad that, really, it's too much.
We don't even know what it's
right.
like.
Right. It's so
much. And that's
much.
the worst I ever went through was that year.
Right. And, so I can honestly say, no, I don't wish for a hurricane to come through here.
Yeah, really? Why would somebody ask you that?
Well,
that's like asking a doctor, hey, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, a lot of heart attacks after that. Are you looking
for people, that's I mean, it is how I make a living, as far as disasters.
Right.
But I'm more content with a little disasters, here and there, individual, rather than the large scale.
Something that ruins somebody's home, yeah.
Right. Even though it is, source of income for me, we're not out there looking for that to happen. I mean, we do everything from the disasters to the construction part of it. So,
do you know there was damage done to a Diamond gas station? Oh, it's the road that goes right near
7th and Baseline.
Thank you. And that covering is still sitting there. And so we were wondering, is the damage not being fixed because the insurance isn't right? What takes so long?
It really depends. There's multiple reasons why it could be taking this long to fix it. Either it wasn't insured for enough. They could be working on getting the estimates and the repair prices still, getting all that figured out and coming to an agreed upon price with the insurance. So it either could have, like I said, it could have not been insured properly. And that's something that all people should make sure of. Get with your insurance agent. Go over your policies. Make sure that you are insured correctly, so that in the event of a disaster, you are covered. So second, they could still be working on getting the prices around.
Right.
Third, there could be they could be totally changing it. They could be, reworking and putting a whole different design cover up.
It looks like
really
tough design. I mean, it looks like a big, gigantic platform on a little tiny
It really
support.
is. Right. And that too, because of modern building codes, they may not allow it to be put back like it was.
Okay.
It really depends. So
Well, once in a while, you'll see a video on YouTube of the overhang at a drive-through at a bank, and somebody will hit the post on the outside, and the whole thing comes down. Have you ever seen those? And it's like, wow, they need to build them differently or something.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, sometimes you really, you look at the way things are built, and, even though it passed codes, I mean, I was talking to an architect. I was talking to Rolando Sosa Architectural Studios the other day, and we were talking about different building designs and how sometimes we've got to do things certain ways in order to get them to pass code nowadays. But a lot of times in retrospect, you start tearing buildings apart and you look at how something was built and you go, how did that stay there? I mean, sometimes that's the way it is. And either, things are changed or remodeled and it wasn't done,
Right.
In the remodel process. They might have taken out some supports that should have actually been there. So you really never know. But, sometimes you wonder, how did that ever stay there? So
it's a mystery how they...
And sometimes, you have people put things, constructional, they build something and it might not be built the way it should be, or maybe they didn't use a permit.
I meant to ask you,
whatever.
And this is maybe an aside type of a question, but what is, if there is a difference between cinder block and concrete block? What is the difference, or is there no difference?
I believe they're the same.
They're the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's just the way they call them.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Because cinder sounds like hollow or thin or weak or something. Concrete
sounds like fire.
Yeah, like it had been burned and now it's like formed into
I wish I could come up with a really good, funny answer, but I think they're about the same.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe if a caller knows the difference.
Because I've always...
We could Google it real quick.
Some people say concrete block and some people say cinder block. It's like, what is the difference? We don't know.
I don't know.
Somebody can call in and tell us if there is a difference.
Somebody can come up with an answer for us.
We used to have a concrete block manufacturing company in Ocala, didn't we? Or do we still have it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I know, we've got different supplies, Rinker Supply, and there's another one that, they supply concrete blocks.
There was a story in the newspaper of a guy building his own house by himself, and he lives right near Dan and Missy.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this guy?
Mm-mm.
So I've always worried about those guys that do this because they usually have a lot of supplies on the site, and then they leave. And I'm always worried. Like when you drive past a place like that, I always think, oh, who's to stop somebody from going in and taking those cement blocks or concrete blocks?
And, really nobody, and that happens quite a bit as far as, on job sites. You have a lot of theft, that does happen.
That's terrible. I remember when Robin and my sister participated in a women's build for Habitat, and I think that was the year that Brad told us that they had some tools stolen. It's just...
And that's, most job sites that, a lot of times if you leave something behind, it is likely to be, hauled off, unfortunately. That's why, you always want to secure your job site, make sure that it is, safe, or if you're going to leave stuff, make sure that, it's in a place where it can be locked up.
Is the biggest challenge you have more of a communication one? In other words, let's say damage has hit my home and I don't know you from anybody. Somebody gave me your number. So now I've got to find out if I trust you.
Right.
That's got to be the biggest hurdle for you.
Initially, and that's the case. If you have a disaster that happens in your house or to your home, you're already in a state of shock.
Right.
You don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn, and you probably have lots of people that are offering their services, because there's other companies like mine out there, and sometimes it gets to a point where, they're coming up and saying, hey, we can fix this for you.
Right.
and that's the good thing, or one thing about my job and our company. A lot of the calls that we get are from people that are referring us to their friend or their family, or they're saying, hey, the so-and-so had a disaster, you need to call them. So referrals are huge for me because I've already got that in. I've already got someone that's saying, hey,
that's right.
Call Larry.
That's right.
He had this happen to him. Larry's a friend of mine. He needs help.
Right.
So when I call you, I can say, hey, Larry, so-and-so called me and said you have a disaster. But it is the very first thing that we've got to do is build rapport with the client, with the homeowner, so that they do feel like they can trust us enough, because they are in a situation, like I said, a state of shock. They don't know what to do, who to call, where to turn.
Yeah, it sounds like the biggest challenge to me. I'm looking at what you do through, external eyes. Obviously, I have no idea what it's really like.
And and then once that, if someone does decide, yeah, Joe, I want you and Damage Control to fix the disaster, there's an ongoing communication that has to happen, because we work basically for the homeowner in working with their insurance company in order to fix the damage. So we're coordinating all the work to be done and coordinating with the insurance company, the adjuster, the agent sometimes, and letting the agent know what's happening, and the company itself, the insurance company, so that all the work can be coordinated to get everything can get taken care of.
And you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Yeah, this is Mike. How you doing, Larry?
Good. How are you doing?
Morning, Mike.
I'm doing all right. You was asking about a cinder block and concrete block.
Yeah.
We did have a concrete manufacturing company here. Carmeline was up at Kendrick years ago. The difference between a concrete block and a cinder block was actually reinforced with cinders or ash. The concrete block is primarily reinforced. It's concrete and Portland cement and sand.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the difference. And the cinder block was a heavy block, like the old limestone block, real heavy. The concrete blocks they make now lightweight blocks.
Really?
I don't know. They still seem pretty heavy to me.
So is one better? Is one stronger than the other?
You handle them all day long, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
And, the gentleman that used to build his own house, that house is right there. I think it's still there, right by in the area of the post office there, right behind the post office. And the guy also built White Star Line. He used to have the White Star Line moving company.
Okay.
And, but he built that building where Sims law firm is now, right down near Mount Moriah Church.
Oh, really?
And he built that with a bucket.
Oh, wow.
He put the steel in there, and he would pour so much with a bucket. He built on that for years and years. I think the gentleman finally passed away. He did have a daughter here, but he built that house with a bucket, and he mixed his own concrete, and he would pour a little bit every day, every week, and he would come up. And it's probably one of the best built buildings in Ocala. We have a hurricane. That's where you want to be.
That's the place to go, huh?
Oh, wow.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the
I just
information.
thought I'd call you.
I appreciate you calling.
So is the heavier of the two the better one?
Was that?
Is the heavy which is the better building material, the cinder or the concrete block?
Well, probably I would build with the concrete block today. The cinder block has a tendency to hold moisture, and they mold quicker, and the paint don't adhere to them real good. It's the old block.
Really?
Do several things with them. But the new concrete blocks, I'd much rather build with them today.
Okay.
Because they're lighter. I like that.
They're lighter.
Lighter.
Those old blocks had 3 cores, and I tell you, they were made out of that limestone, and I tell you, they were some pretty heavy blocks. But the new blocks, it actually has a handle in it. You just grab it right in the middle, lay it, and it's done with.
Huh. See, now we know something.
He makes it sound so easy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call,
I've been
Mike.
laying on for about 50 years.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the call.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you. I think he said his name was Mike, didn't he?
I think it did.
So now we know. So, but if I'm going to request something, I'm just going to say, what do I need? He's just going to build it, right?
And that's the thing. I mean, I've got an appointment later on today with a couple, and they had a flood in their home, and we're going to go through different options as far as flooring for them. And, pretty much, just like what you said, I'm going to look at what they've got, look at what they have, and, they had carpet. They don't necessarily want to go back with carpet. They're wanting some sort of a harder surface,
right.
Easier for them to get around with their walkers. So we'll be looking at some other options, not necessarily tile, but maybe some laminate flooring or some vinyl sheet goods, something like that for them. So, we look at different options and say, hey, what is going to be best for you? Concrete, cinder, what will be best?
And everybody will say, I don't know. You tell me.
Sometimes.
It's pretty much the way I would be. I don't know. I would think everybody thinks like me. I just go to mechanics for my cars, dentists for my teeth,
and that's the thing.
Contractors for my building stuff.
And that's the thing. You rely on the professionals that are in that field and say, hey, what should I do? And a lot of times, hopefully, they're going to steer you in the best thing possible.
Right. So what do people come to me for? How do you turn this mic on? How do you get that music started for Joe's show?
Well, that's
there
good.
It is. There it is. See, I know how to do that.
I like it.
What is your phone number?
My phone number is 352-817-6574, or you can email me, joe@damageflorida.com.
All right. And let's see. So I'll see you again before you do the race, right?
Yep.
I'll see you before.
You'll see me before September 14th.
And then the next time will be after the race. Yeah.
But we're going to be doing some of the obstacles next week, too, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll let you know how they turn out.
All right. Put videos on YouTube.
We need to.
That's how I live vicariously through everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll take a little break. Be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Home prices jumped nearly 12.5% last July from last year. CoreLogic says prices rose in every state except Delaware, and Nevada posted the biggest increase, 27%. Low mortgage rates and consistent job gains are among the driving forces. The presidential arm twisting is in full swing at the White House, where President Obama has been meeting with House leaders to persuade them to back a U.S.-led strike in Syria. Football fans in New York, L.A., and Dallas can breathe again now